Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah,
Pardon?
throw poor Catherine under the bus.
So if I go first, I have to give an introduction. So here's the introduction. Um, I'm Catherine Hashimoto, um,
Otherwise
and
known as
this
Wampu.
this is a proto podcast taken from a story that I've been working on. I've always had this wish to do historical fiction, so this is a historical thing. It's not the first scene though. For various logistical reasons, I decided it would be easier to do the second scene. So I have to tell you what happens in the first scene, which is we're in 1650s London, and this young boy and his mom have just shown up in town from Venice, and they've gone to a luthier's shop, which is an instrument maker, because she's a musician and she ostensibly wants to make contacts with people in the town. And just as they get there, a bunch of big shots show up from the court. It's the auxilium to the master of the revels, and he's picking up instruments. And this woman, this mom, she sees her main chance, and so she strikes up a conversation and goes off with him. And she kind of stage whispers to her son, "Just stay here. I'll be back," basically. So, and she goes out the door. That's scene one, which you're not seeing. So you're seeing scene two, which starts off with this kid alone in this shop. So that's it. That's the intro. Are you going to try to play this or should I?
Would you like me to play it?
I can try to. Let's see if
Okay,
it works.
sure.
I
Be
will
sure to
attempt to do it.
share. Be sure to share audio,
Okay. Let's see
and
if it
you can go
works.
to advanced, and just share the audio so that we don't just look at your audio player the whole time.
Okay. So do I just click on computer audio?
Go down to share, and then
Yeah.
go to advanced, and
Yeah.
then click on computer audio, and then start the podcast episode.
Okay, let's see if it works. Are you guys seeing like a blank screen now?
Nope, we're seeing you.
Damn. Shit. All right. Oh, for Christ's sakes.
It's working. It's fine. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, but I don't want you guys to have to look at me the entire time.
What would you like us to look at, Catherine?
I'd rather have you look at either a blank screen or just something. You know how normally when you play something, there's just like a little note? Why is
Uh,
that not happening?
when I play something, there are little notes. I don't. I'm
Yeah,
not.
when you play like someone's podcast, there's just like a blue screen with a note on it.
You play it out of media player.
That's your player.
Yeah, if you want, just play the share the media player if you don't want us to see you. If you'd rather
Okay.
have us look at the media player.
I
mean,
would
personally, I'd
certainly,
rather watch you, but
I would certainly not prefer that. All right, well, let me see. Hold on here. Let me try this again. Let me go back to basic share.
yeah, yeah, and then just pick the audio player, the window of the audio player.
I'm trying to click share sound, which it doesn't want to do now. Oh, for cripe's sakes.
Might have to unshare and then reshare.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Share. Sorry for all this time delay.
You're fine. You're fine.
We have 3.5 hours.
It just doesn't want to share sound now. I don't know why that is.
Well, go back to advanced share.
Yeah.
Okay, and then make sure that you're not sharing computer audio from there.
Ah, maybe that's it. That seems like a possibility.
It's but that's the sort of stupidity Zoom does. Is like they make you click one button and it obviates clicking another button when they could just have the other button turn the first button off. But
yeah, well, let's see now if this actually works. I'm skeptical. Hold on. What are we seeing?
That worked.
That's kind of weird, but I like it.
Okay, well, let me just try playing it.
Yeah.
Actually, this looks okay to me. I don't think I'm in the entire screen anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah,
excellent. Okay, now I'm just small again. Okay, I like that. All right, now I'll try to play it.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything though.
Oh, okay. You're not hearing anything.
Did
All right.
you manage to click the share audio button?
Yeah, I did. All right, let's now see if I can stop sharing.
Would you sent this to me as an email link?
Yeah. It was a link to Google. It was like a Google Docs link type thing.
Oh shit, hang on, I'm getting duoed.
I'm sorry. I mean,
no.
It's always something.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, get used to that because it's not like this is just going to happen to you in classes. Like, this is literally what's going to happen. When you're giving professional readings as well.
Yeah.
So just get used to it. Get used to being calm and working through the problem, and get used to the other people trying to help you work through the problem or not help you or just mock you because you're
just lots of chaos while people offer inane suggestions.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, people are like, did you turn it on and off again? Did you click the
What kind of file did you save it under?
Yeah, you're like, I would have to be an idiot not to have done what you just said. So you must think I'm an idiot.
So, okay, I just went through unsharing and resharing again, and you can hear my voice. You can hear my voice, right?
We definitely hear your voice.
Okay, and I'm going to try again. Now, can you hear anything now? Even I can't hear anything now.
It's not playing.
Okay,
well, let's try it. Click play. Well, it's not playing. Matt, do you have a link for this?
I do not at the moment. Or maybe I do.
I didn't send him one, although I'd be happy to. Now it's just not playing.
Yeah, just or can you put a link in the chat? You can just send the chat to me, and I'll play it.
I'll try. Hold on.
I'm being duoed and I can't find my password.
Okay. Hold on.
I love that duoed is a verb now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna, let me see if I can share it with Matt.
Yeah, or with me. I don't know.
I
Matt's
mean,
running.
I shared it with you. You know, you should have it.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, it's in my school. Okay. I'm just having a fun. Okay, wait a second.
You know what? It's under your Gmail.
Oh, you sent it to my Gmail?
Yeah, because you know I was in
Very
Google
good call.
Docs. Pardon?
That was a very good call, actually.
Well,
my
it was in
Gmail
Google.
doesn't lock me out all the damn time.
Ah, okay. Maybe that will work because
So when did you send it?
You know, like 15 minutes ago or something, maybe
okay.
half an hour.
All right. Okay, hang on then. Here we go. All right. Now,
If I just had one of those like really good pictures of myself like all of you guys had, I would put that up. But I don't have that. In fact, I don't have anything in my video filters now. Not even the stock ones. I don't, those aren't even in here.
wow.
I must be under some weird.
Yeah, you logged in under somebody else's account.
Apparently.
All right, we ready to go here?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Should be in stereo.
The Gimt Gut Minneken. Episode 2, in which Serafino is discovered, his name changed, and his fate decided by 3 strange men.
Perhaps it was a kind of trance. The Auxilium's men must have secured his instruments and trundled off, and the luthier gone about his business, none taking notice of me. The next I knew, the room was empty but for the grey of dawn. And still I stood, like Lot's wife, scarped out on a floor of empty tile. At length my mind regained a kind of function. Or if not my mind, my sense, though I felt no more substantial than a pair of ears and eyes, dangling in the void. But these eyes now caught the gleams of instruments, like calm noble beasts, strange-fleshed in varnished yew, rosewood and ebony. Some took their ease sidewise on tables, best to display their intricate devices, which encoded, I surmised, the secret histories of the patrons, lovers, and great families who had, or would possess them. The shop now seemed an Elysium, and this because from my earliest youth, all my pleasure and my duty was of music, and of playing instruments. Too soon the dreaded sound. Some zealous anthropoid. I edged behind a contrabass. My nose nearly touched its shoulder. I took shallow breaths, lest I disturb it, and I fancied that I heard it resonate.
Someone forgot a hat.
It was a youth. The luthier's minion, his wide voice all inharmonious with his narrow head and person. Shoulder to shank, he put me in mind of eels. He snatched my hat, not yet aware that I was under it, then yelped in startlement. I used the moment to compose my face in earnest, yet, I hoped, pleasing fashion.
What? You've no business here.
He was grouty as a crab.
Turn out your pockets.
He poked at me, and once I complied, he ordered,
Go.
He swept his arm through space, as if to catapult me. I took his meaning, for I knew some of English, and his wish was obvious, in any case. I knew that I must argue now for my retention. Yet I was not much given to argument, nor had I ever spoke his language. I feared mockery, or worse, to give offense should I attempt it. I dithered, clutching for some easy saving word, and my palms rose up before me as if to offer a bowl, all laden with my life's account.
Can you understand me, boy?
A merchant, round with prosperity, now puffed in, with a quantity of cut strings, which he arrayed upon the counter. The luthiers' minion, or eel, for so I called him in thought, summoned the luthier, a way-faced inconspicuous fellow, that they convoke in commerce with the merchant. I, still and quiet, hoped for a brief respite. Yet my very discretion made the merchant spleeny.
What's that secret scape about? He looks small enough to climb inside my purse.
I doubt there's harm in him. He may be mute or simple.
Is your mother near?
My countenance must have betrayed perturbation.
Oh dear.
He gave a leer that made my vitals quiver.
Alone then. Though with sufficient wit to steal some fop's fine clothes.
Now he addressed the luthier.
How will you dispose this creature, Etz?
The luthier did not raise his head, but continued thumbing gut strings.
I've no idea.
Can you speak?
Was it wise to so admit to this unsavory fellow? I thought not, though my stomach ache was back, which hampered logic.
I now recall this boy. He came here yesterday, in company with a foreign jade. With a pluck and warble, she entranced the revel's officer, and paraded out with him.
The luthier, seeming to consider, still, of lute strings, now spoke, albeit so low, by nature or contrivance, that we held suspense to hear him.
The court and revels left this day to start a 3 months progress. The jade won't return, I think.
That's insupportable. We cannot lodge him. He must be made a ward upon the parish.
As I gaped, with but slight grasp of my catastrophe, the merchant, with deftness bordering on ambush, now hoisted my inconsequential form over his shoulder like a sack of millet.
I'll take the little beggar.
I curled like an imperiled woodlouse, in avoidance of the miscreant's person, but to no effect, and when I looked about me for assistance, none seemed to find his act amiss. Yet of a sudden I felt a slackness in the merchant's awful clench. And I saw him stare, attentive, at the luthier, who now murmured, in a close-mouthed cruzzle, that, just as the court and revels did not tarry in the capital, the theatres must close, and as well, the public entertainments, and this because in several parishes, the weekly bills showed plague deaths to exceed 20.
In consequence, of course, my yesterday's receipts may be the last for months. I must watch my farthings. I cannot buy strings today.
The merchant, now in need of his alms elsewhere, to wit, to recollect his wares, dropped me upon the floor, then stalked out, all a scowl. The luthier, or Ertz, who seemed, of a sudden, to be a very oracle, turned to scrutinize me, and of 2 days' frights, I think this moment affrighted me most. I hope my velvet cloak and pansied hose allayed his expectation that I was a mendicant, yet feared the effect was spoiled, as my clothes were overlarge, and I suspected mother rented them in haste. But the master took my hands in his, and looked at me narrowly, and seemed to see beneath my clothes, and skin as well, until I felt a very skeleton. And I could not think what I should say, when he called me to account. But he asked no word of me. Perhaps he did not need to. At last he murmured,
Pesta. Capito.
and I nodded very small, to match his voice. Then, like ticking off a list, he issued both my fate and name.
You shall join my household, and be called Jan.
And my new name was no more English than my old one, because the master was not English, as it happened, but was an Antwerp man. And, just as he forbore to voice, or even know, the name my mother gave me, I voiced not his name, if I could help it, as Ertz seemed to me less a name, and more a rumbling of the bowels. Master Ertz now left upon some business, directing that his minion ensconce me in the household. Yet I was loath to leave the shop, as it was lovely, and I trusted not the eel, and was exhausted, and parched as a bachelor that was not put to soak. Thus I heeded not the eel's many exhortations, and sank upon the floor in lethargy, and clamped my hands upon a table leg, that he not move me bodily. But now appeared a drudge, and she proved a genius of act, if not of argument, as, by holding a cheese lump to my nostril, she revived me, as if I were an ailing rat. And my hands, automaton-like, reached for the morsel, which she withdrew above my head, causing my legs to raise, then carry me into the household, as adjunct to this good ex machina. We advanced, or perhaps retreated, to the yard, where the drudge beat well my clothes, so they released dust in a great mass, and my cloak appeared now vivid scarlet rather than dull crimson, and she put my linens to soak, and scrubbed me about my person, which made me blush, for I was neither so young, nor she so old as that, and she searched my head for nits, and put me at table with the best of company, to wit, a Frenchimol and a tansy that it seemed, my betters had but tasted. She gave me a fresh night shirt and put me to bed. And in night time, when in bed, my eyes opened of a sudden, and my heart turned to my fate, and mother, who did naught of drudgery, for me or anyone, as she was an artist and a lady, whose duties are to herself and art, which is to say her voice, and to her patron. And this I knew from my earliest years, for it was told me by some old woman at Venezia's Ospedale della Pieta, as did raise me, because mother passed me to these women through a grating when I was but an infant, for I was a natural son. And at the devout Hospital of Mercy, as that place would be called. Yet this night I felt desolate, as it seemed a strange wonder that mother redeemed me from the hospital, and took me to Albion, only to leave me at some ends. And I thought on whether this could be God's purpose, and if so, God's purpose seemed very hard. Now I thought to examine the token that my mother gave me. I withdrew it from my glove, and saw it was but a scrap of music, very old, much folded and unfolded, and even torn away, such that it comprised few bars. I wondered if, in the moment's heat, she'd erred and passed me rubbish. I did warrant, upon study, that the scrap seemed a marvelous tune. But, as it was but a scrap and not the whole, the tune was only a beginning.
Terms of use for works heard in Episode 2 The Gimpgut Miniken. Carnival des Animaux, Suite 7, Aquarium, was written by Camille Saint-Saëns and performed by Itieu. Elements, Suite 2, The Rain, was written and performed by Itieu. The albums Carnival des Animaux and Elements, which include these works, were accessed through the Free Music Archive and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 license. Links to these licenses and to Itieu's original works can be found at the Neophyte Studios Twitch channel. Sounds were created by Dobroid, Atarkia and Barragan. Sounds created by Dobroid.
That's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've been working on that story before, but I certainly learned a lot about Free Sound and Free Music Archive and the artificial voice platform PlayHT, which I
PlayHT is where you did that?
Yeah, PlayHT, and I ended up getting a subscription because, I just had to. And let me just say, I don't know how much you guys have started on doing these things yet, but so it was really interesting because so I was scrounging around for different accents, and they had a whole bunch of they had some English accents of different types, like New Zealand and South African. Like the lead character was South African. they didn't really have any children's voices for any of the accents I wanted. So I took a woman's voice, and you could lower the pitch. So you could lower pitch, you could make it quieter or louder, you could make it faster or slower. But what I discovered as I went on, that some of the voices had other options. Like there was some voices where you could put emphasis, but not very many, and it was hard to tell beforehand. I couldn't search it. And then I got all excited when I found out you could put emphasis, and I thought I could put the emphasis and change the voice, and it said you couldn't. But the weird thing was, I kind of feel like the emphasis did stick with one of the voices, like the lady who I used as the intro. I feel like that emphasis stuck, even though they said it wasn't going to. So like there's a lot of little tricky things. And then another thing I learned just before, just today was, I tried going into some of the other languages because I was going to have somebody say a few words in another language. And but I of course I don't know the other languages, and I had typed in English words, and as I was sitting there kind of scratching my head wondering how I was going to do this, I just pressed play. And so even though I had nominated, like, I think it was Swahili, because I was going to have I was going to have the drudge be originally from Africa, but instead of Swahili it came out in English with a heavy accent. So then I thought, well, maybe I could go under Italian and get my Italian accent, which I wanted for the main character. So like I feel like there's a lot of things going on in this platform that I just don't understand yet. So I wanted to lay that all out for anybody who hasn't used PlayHT, or in case they do the same things in all the platforms and you haven't done it. It was interesting.
That's
Very
great. Well,
Yeah,
good. Well, that's that's an excellent synthesis of the stuff of this workshop and your writing and all the discoveries you've made. You've come a long way this semester.
That's true.
Well, no, but I mean, that's it's impressive. Many people really don't change at all in graduate school, and I think that was perfectly successful. Like I think if you did 10 to 15-minute episodes of this, every few weeks, every week, something like that, you would get a listenership if you made this a podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting because it was amazing to me, at least, what a divergence among the voices there was. Like on the same platform, some of the voices I just didn't like much at all, and then some voices actually were not bad. And then it was just a question of how can you make the words work? And if I was really trying to put this on the air, I think what I'd have to do, given the current technology, or at least the amount of money I have to spend on this, is you have to just tinker with sometimes the words you use, because some words they just can't say as well. So yeah.
Yep.
So anyway.
No, it's very interesting. Like being able to tinker and converse with the AIs. I just talked to Ajit Jaukar again today, and he really wants a partnership with us, and we were talking about about how that's going to be. Learning to partner with AIs is going to be one of the artist's primary jobs in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So, well done, Catherine.
Thank you.
Very well done. Yeah.
All right. You all can see this, right?
Yes.
Okay, it says menu.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I made a dating sim, so hold on to your horses, everyone.
Great. Good.
All right. So there's some introduction stuff. The gist of it is that you have dropped your entire life to go take over this restaurant in this town of mysteries. All right. The town is called Hidden Grace, and it's on the other side of everything. The entry sign reads, Place of Wonder. Little lake town, at least an hour's drive from any place else. As a child, you thought it was paradise. Your parents would ship you off to spend summers here, imposing on the generosity of old families. You're not really sure of the circumstances. Your memory of those days is easy at best. But some things are the same. There's a particular feel to this town. Maybe the weight of the air, texture. Like something out of a dream. Familiar and yet unfriendly. Like someone else is out here. Alright. Investigator.
We gotta investigate, yeah. Just type your answer into the chat, folks.
And they're gone. Not even any footprints left behind. Weird. Probably harmless. People have embraced hate outsiders. They hate unnecessary trouble. Just get where you're going. Or we can reminisce later. This place is just called the Diner. Keeps things simple. It's been in and out of different hands for years and years. Must have had at least a dozen owners at this point. Still looks the same though. And the front door is locked. There's a note taped to it. Well, okay. Maybe the back one is open. Right. This one's locked too. Well, that sucks. Kind of a wrench in my new life plan. She wouldn't have just stranded me, though. Maybe there is another way in here. Alright, this is a point and click, so just type in what you want to click on, I guess. Alright.
Yeah, World Milk Day.
Calcium is an important part of a balanced diet. Strong bones, strong will. Thing. That's not super ominous. Poster for a city service. I should write that down.
Wow.
A business card for psychic help. No other info on it though. It adds to the air of mystery. Any other guesses?
Let's look at the scorecard, the City Health scorecard.
Above average.
All right, farmers market then. Right, isn't that all that's left?
Farmers market, cute. Seems slightly out of place in this town though. Door handle is locked. Someone got it.
Note will say, yeah. Oh.
What's this little scrap of paper? It says lovely. Spare key under the rock by the drain pipe. So all is smashed to his mouth. It's you more than words can say. Best. And wait. Hey, congrats, guys. Last one, Savvy. Home sweet home. The bottom half of it, at least. Sleeping arrangements are upstairs in the attic. Down here is the diner and we're closed. It's fairly new. And what of it?
Yeah, definitely hungry.
You're new, huh? We haven't been open for lunch in months. Only meal we serve is dinner. Only under very special circumstances. If I make you a snack, will you get out of my hair? you anyway. Right, we don't need a name for this. No way. You're the new owner?
Properly. Yeah, I like the question mark.
A little less confidence, Miss Ma'am. Sorry, it assumes you're a woman. You don't seem like much of a business shark. But I guess we've never done things the conventional way. My name is Nina. I've worked here for years. And years. You get the picture. If you need anything, feel free to ask me. I'm pretty knowledgeable about the town and all of its idiosyncrasies. Here's one of them now. Things broken. Like, cosmically. The restaurant is broken. This thing next door keeps backing up. Sounds like a them problem. I pulled a ball of congealed fat out of their pipes. You know you're not supposed to put grease down the sink, right? Sounds like a them problem. Well, they're yelling at me, so I'm going to need you to stop doing that. Please. Fine. I'll go grab some copies for you to take back as a peace offering. That's really not necessary.
You're pretty tall.
You don't need to talk. All right, big head. Okay, order up. Never say I never did anything to play, man. All right. Just dispose of your cooking runoff properly, please. And you? Sorry, I was short. It's been a long day and what? That's Nicholas. Sucks sometimes, but he's good at heart, I promise. And he's a town mechanic, electrician, notary. Now he's got a pretty full plate of other problems. I don't think he's taken a vacation in ever. I don't think he even sleeps. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys now because we're not gonna get to it. He's a vampire. So
Good.
Anyway, best to keep your head down and let him go about his business. It's painful for everyone that way. Now then, how about I make you some grub and we can get you settled in? Received diner keys. An average set of keys from Handy's Hardware on Main Street. No more getting locked out for me. Right, you put them in your inventory for safekeeping. With that, the day concludes. Pretty sparse in here. There's some clothes in the closet. Work boots too. The computer is over in the far side of the room. It won't turn on. No pictures or anything on the walls. Never was much of a sentimentalist. At the end of the day, a bed is all you really need. And a long journey, but I made it. Now all that's left to do is life. How hard can it be? Alright, I don't know how long we've been doing this for, so do you guys want to do this day or do you want to... Okay. Wants to go to the dock. Yikes. Smells like something died out here. Lake used to be pristine, but the fact factory on the other side has started dumping waste here. Now it hardly looks safe to swim in. Dead fish and industrial debris all over the place. Shame. Poor dead fish. You fish? Okay then. Let me know if you need help, I guess. You think you can help me? Fight? How strong are your teeth?
Those are both such good answers.
Thought so. Come on. Or if I insulted your home. My teeth are really that unimpressive. Or get going if you want to. Whatever. Looks like Nina wasn't kidding about the baby again. I see a big learning curve. Figure out that we're right now. Time for second one. Okay, alright.
I want how our
By the way, I think I got that old computer up and running. No need to thank me. Well, a little gratitude might be nice.
Oh, computer, yeah.
You guys have 1 point in savvy. What a message from mom. Dearest one. What on earth are you doing? What can I tell you? Are you coming home? With recipe at any time. Yes. I found that book you were obsessed with as a kid. The ending is a lot darker than I remembered. Alright. It's as far as we can make it this time.
That's amazing. Well, so okay, well, a couple of things. I mean, I'm sure other people have, questions, and we can talk about this later. But that's the kind of thing. I mean, you can sell that, right? Like that's no problem. Put that in an executable, and we'll just make a Neophyte digital Steam account and put it up for you, right? Once you get a complete version of it done, we can put it up as a what is the name? What is it called, Matt? In progress.
Well, yeah, we could do in progress at any point. We also have itch.io, and we should get on Steam, so it could be available everywhere to everyone.
That's so good. Like it's so much better than other similar things. It's I've read a lot of visual novels now, and that's really really good. That would be well recognized. Early access, that's the word I was looking for. Just put it up as early access, people buy into it, You take the money and use it for development, stuff like that. Set up a GoFundMe, or something like that, or a Patreon, where people can go and get like access to special, get access to chapters before they go out to the public, stuff like that. But that's a professional product.
How far along is it?
So I have the next section and a half planned out, but there's gonna be like 15 more days at least.
Well, I would do it as a thing that comes out in parts, right? And each part can kind of fund the next part and kind of keep you excited about the next part, and people will be excited about it and stuff like that. But I know we're gonna move on tonight, but let's talk about how you can commercialize that, because it's ready to go. Like that's very well done. What was the software you used?
It's called RemPy, so it's a digital narrative app that's built on top of Python.
Okay. Yeah, did you have experience with it before, or did you just learn?
No, but it's pretty easy to learn because they have documentation for everything on their website, so it's just like a lot.
And it's open source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you did that with free software, right? I mean, that's incredible. That's really good. And that's exactly the kind of thing I'm thinking about, as I think about Neophyte Digital and SIU Press and that kind of thing, right? I love the leisurely pace of it, right? I mean, it feels like a life being lived, right? It really does feel like it's very novelistic, good characters. That's super impressive. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? I mean, I want to get to, move on, but so.
Well, real quick, with being new to the software, how long did it take you to get that far?
1 week.
That's massively impressive with how polished that is. You could have told me you've been working on that for 2 semesters and I would have believed you.
Oh, absolutely.
Sincerely.
I mean, I hope this is our first visual novel thesis, right? Like that's because that's the kind of thing that'll get you noticed. It'll get you jobs. It can make money on its own. It'd be a great calling card. It would be fun to do at a reading, right? I mean, it would be fun, I think, to do that at a reading and ask everybody what they want, just like you did here, and people get excited when they get to help choose, Yeah. Nope. Outstanding.
I just knew you were going to pick me.
I always wonder if people can feel my hand passing over their portrait.
I'm like, it's going to be what it's going to be. But hello, like everybody.
Well done. You found a good way to sort of hide your environment.
I just blurred my wall, same wall.
Yeah. No, but that's right. But you're thinking, right? You're thinking about what things look like and how you want to appear. That's all. That's what I mean.
Gotcha. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Dejanae Robinson. You can find me on Twitch at Dejanae, DAJONEA, or Instagram at _D_A_R.
Excellent. Very good.
So today I have 2 movie trailers that I prepared, which is just appropriated media of the novels that I'm working on. And I have a sample scene from before that you can see what could be if I add the correct and proper digital art to it. And I also have a diary entry that I made last night that tells an interesting story. But before I get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself, because I know a lot of my peers don't know. So I graduated with a BA in journalism, and I thought I was hot shit. Honestly, I did. And I had jobs lined up for myself. I had 3 jobs within my field lined up, and they all fell through due to budget cuts. the people who had hired me, their contract didn't get renewed, so I didn't get hired on. And another job was like I couldn't afford to take the job. And if you know, you know, it just wasn't paying enough money for me to survive. So I had to do what I had to do. And with that being said, I took a job at a gas station. It was a full service gas station. So essentially, I was pumping people's gas. And I had customers who were the upper middle class to the chronically homeless. So you can imagine my interactions with them. And like most writers, I pull my inspiration through lived experience and my perception of my reality. So with a lot of my writing, you'll see my inner feelings and how I interpret the world. Okay. So now I'm going to pull up my first movie trailer. Just a brief background on these ideas. Makari's story, which is the one I'm going to show you, and Wallflowers is another one I'm going to show you. And I had these ideas back since 12th grade in high school, and I knew I wanted to see them become something great. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm at SIU, to do all that I can do to produce excellence. So for Makari's story, a little bit of background. It takes the average vampire novel. It's set in an altered grunge America. We see Makari's innermost thoughts as he reigns in the new world as a Black vampire. We see the changes in the social dynamics around him between humans and vampires and the effects of crime and drugs in the city. Makari doesn't see the world as just black and white. However, he knows that the blood will run red and it affects everyone. Just give me 1 second to pull it up. Can we all hear it? I just paused it.
Hear it, yeah.
Fuck again, shotty bad, fuck a friend, shotty mad, still on roll, don't be mad, so my soul.
Is there supposed to be video, Dejanae?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We're just seeing your desktop.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're actually seeing your file explorer.
Okay. Oh, you solved my secrets. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah. It's always horrifying when you realize like what you've named your files and stuff.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
This MFA sucks.exe.
Okay. Do you
there
still?
You go. Yeah,
all right.
You got it now.
All right. Bloopers. Okay, here we go.
Now we don't have sound though.
Oh my. Okay. All right.
Did you share the sound out?
I did.
Click the little thing.
It told me I did. Okay. Let's go back to this. Okay. 1 second. Let's try it again. Okay, can we see this?
I see it. I don't know if I hear it yet.
I'm about to push play now.
Got it. 100%.
Fuck again, shawty bad, fuck a friend, shawty mad, still on roll, don't be mad, so my soul, don't be sad. Have you in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night, have you up in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night. Fuck again, shawty bad, fuck a friend, shawty mad, still on roll, don't be mad, so my soul, don't be sad. Have you up in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night. What's your name? I don't know. With the gang, let me go. She want fame, she a hoe. She the same, we all know. Not for free, no I don't. Not for me, no I won't. She won't fuck, hit my phone. Bitch, you suck, leave me alone. Yeah, I'm up, hold my cup, suck my dick, hold my nuts, hold my chain. Bitch, for what? Please stay still, let me bust. Swallow please on my nuts. All of me in your gush. Let me see, may I lust. Baby, please, I'm in love. Oh, in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night, have you in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night. Fuck again, shawty bad, fuck a friend, shawty mad, still on roll, don't be mad, so my soul, don't be sad. Have you in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night. Hit my time, yeah. Baby girl, you're fine, yeah. I've been trying to find ya, and baby girl, your time's up, yeah. And you're high, yeah. And I'm in the limelight, like, don't be shy, yeah. Baby girl, the time's right, yeah. Get your mind right. I'ma get my mind right. You wanna stay the night, right? You do, you know you mine, right, girl? Show me some, cut the cake, throw me some. Don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be scared. It's supposed to be fun. Oh, in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night, have you in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night. Fuck again, shawty bad, fuck a friend, shawty mad, still on roll, don't be mad, so my soul, don't be sad. Have you in the night, in the night, in the night, in the night.
Okay, that's just the first one. So I did this through appropriated media. So I just pulled images from the web and put it into Premiere Pro and made a video. So now I'm going to get Wallflower, its sample trailer. And I might have to show you my secrets again. We'll see what happens. Just look away. Okay, did we hear that?
Heard it, didn't see it.
Okay, it's gonna come. All right.
Awesome.
If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. 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 Shorty like a
No video yet.
Oh, okay. So just my desktop again?
But we were jamming.
Oh gosh. Okay. 1 second. Thank you, Jody.
You're welcome.
If I told you you were beautiful,
There you go.
beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. I need you by my side. Baby girl, come ride. I'm looking for your soul. I'm trying to get inside. I'm trying to have some children, trying to have you tie my ties. Trying to get some sugar before I go off in the night. Baby, be my wife, my destiny's aside. Take my hand and trust me, baby, we gon' be alright. Honestly, I need you in my life. Your love is like a knife. You stab me if you didn't catch a crime. Yeah. Shorty like an angel. Feeling like I'm at the world. Girl, be my Topanga. This love something different. I would never ditch it. I remember tweaking when you gave me a
Wallflower tells the story of Robin Arasimon, a 25-year-old woman in America. A wallflower by nature, a flower that grew even in the most horrid conditions. Readers follow Robin as she ventures through the next chapter of introspection with poise and common sense. Robin soon realizes that the creatures that go bump in the night are real, and they look just like you. Demons and she-devils are closer than they appear to be. However, everyone should beware of the wrath of the serpent that lies beneath.
You should be my missus. Vanilla choke, strawberry kisses.
That was my wallflower sample trailer. And I used an AI voice generator from Typecast to do the sample.
And that was from Typecast?
Yes. I really enjoyed Catherine's AI voice. I'm going to use that one of these days. So now I'm going to pull up a scene of AI art. This is just a prototype.
Gin is the life of the party anywhere. And
you see it, and we heard
Yes.
it, right? Okay.
Yep.
Figured it out.
everywhere she stepped foot.
This is called A Night Out with Gin. Sample scene.
Gin is the life of the party anywhere and everywhere she stepped foot. She showed me the exclusive nightlife of Scipio or Oregon. I saw the city through her eyes. It is a lonely place where you must mold and shape to your liking. There are plenty of broken people who come here hoping for solstice. Find your own place in it, of force and cold by nature. Her friend accepted us as a dynamic duo, double trouble. We went to nudie bars and sniffed cocaine off dancers' breasts and took shots poured from the stomach muscles and stiff appendages of male strippers. Genesis accepted me as I am. For once I did not feel like damaged goods. I let her shop out of my closet for whatever outfit. She could not fit most of my clothes because I had larger breasts, hips, and thighs than her. The city through Genesis' eyes was a lonely place, but I saw the potential for what it could be with the right people. Genesis showed me that broken people can come together and create their own families. I found my place in the city, and I found a family in Genesis. The diametrically opposed lifestyles we led created a strange bond between us. Me being a homebody and Jen being a go-out-on-the-town kinder girl helped us to learn and grow from each other. I was always the obedient girl who followed the rules, while Jen was the rule breaker. The odd couple, some would say. I started staying out later. I drank more. I smoked more weed. I cut my work days short to spend more time with her. We shared our deepest, darkest secrets with one another. She was my go-to person for everything. I called her for the smallest things. She had a need to be wanted and accepted. I understood this because it was something I craved too. We shared a lot of intimate moments where we would stay up all night talking. I never had a friend like her before. We would go to after-hours clubs and dance until the sun came up. We would take naps in the afternoon and then go out and do it all over again. We would go to the beach and lounge on weekdays when it was mostly abandoned. We would drink wine and eat cheese and crackers and people watch. We would make up stories about the people we saw walking by. It was always a good time when we were together. One night, after a long night of partying, Jen and I were walked back to my apartment by two of her friends. We said our goodbyes and I watched as they walked away, disappearing into the night. I turned to go into my apartment, but before I could even take a step, I was tackled from behind. I hit the ground hard, the wind knocked out of me. I tried to scream, but a hand covered my mouth, muffling my cries. I was kicked and punched until I was too weak to fight back, and then I felt a sharp pain in my side as someone drove a knife into my flesh. I blacked out, my last thought being of Jen, and of how I would never see her again.
The sample scene using AI voice acting and AI art. And my last thing I'm going to showcase will be just me reading a diary entry of mine. And it's titled Unscathed. I had left my charger at work today. Unbeknownst to me, I left it under my desk. I had turned the power off from my extension cord, but left my charger plugged in. I gathered everything except that small thing. I took a nap today. Stayed up late finishing a project last night, or this morning. I worked on another project. My low battery flashed. My charger was not in my belongings. I don't have a vehicle yet. With these wages, I need 2 jobs to get the car that I want. I would walk with my mother, but she has sciatica and arthritis pains. My bike would be the fastest option. I bundled up. I had on my used gray sweatpants from Brown, my mother's blue sweatshirt, a beanie, a scarf, and a jacket. My mother prayed over me. She prayed for my protection. I almost feel like I didn't need it, like I'd just be fine. But I embraced her prayers anyways because I knew it was in good faith and for my best interest. I made it to my office. You know the feeling like something bad might happen to you, and all you'd want to do is just call your mother to tell her that you love her, that you'll be home soon. I pushed out the intrusive thoughts of one of the janitors going postal and killing me in my now dimly lit hallways of Fader. I turned on my headlights and my taillights of my bike. I didn't stop and play any games on my phone. I needed to get home. I needed to be immersed in my safe space. I made it onto Poplar. There was a car a few blocks down. Headlights were bright and its speed was increasing. I thought to myself that it would really suck if that car hit me. I washed the tires to make sure they didn't veer into my bike lane. They didn't. By the time that they did, I was already in the intersection, and his blinker was turned on too late. I swerved. He slammed on his brakes. He missed me. He missed my body and my bike by an inch. It was an uneven sidewalk that made me flip over my bike onto the cold concrete. I stood up. I knew nothing was broken. I wasn't sure if I had any bleeding scrapes underneath my clothes, but I knew I was alive. And in an instant, it could have been much worse. He got out of his car to make sure I was okay. His name was Matt. He shook my hand twice. He was an older man with glasses and drove some old blue car. He said I came out of nowhere, but I saw him blocks away. My bike had no obvious damage after the quick inspection. I allowed him to pick it up, and I eventually slipped back on my shoe. Apparently, he'd been dragged before when he was on his bike. It happened down by the old fire station, he said. The conversation shifted, and he asked me if I was married. I didn't want his money, and I didn't need to see his insurance. It was time for me to go home. He told me to be safe, and I told him he needed to be safe. I wasn't even sure if he apologized at first. I asked to make sure. I hopped back on my bike and I rode home. There was another set of headlights. They were headlights of some kind of truck. An ambulance, without its sirens, passed me by and turned onto the street of my almost car collision. That ambulance could have been for me, in the worst way. I made it home and allowed myself to be vulnerable within the walls of my makeshift abode. I didn't want to cry in front of that man or in the streets. I met my mom with tears as I haphazardly locked the door behind me. She comforted me. Apparently, she and Sage had just been looking out the window from looking out the window moments before I came home through the door. I embraced the hugs from my mother and kisses and snuggles from Sage. My mother spoke life into me and tended to my spiritual wounds as I had no physical ones. She encouraged me to speak life into myself. They stayed very close to me, keeping a close eye on me. I made it home, unscathed. Thank you.
Terrific. Yeah, I really like that you all have. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine who's a director, film director, and he's had really 3 features. I mean, and pretty decent films. I mean, great films, but significant films. And we were talking about how we were raised and trained in a kind of modernist tradition, where you it was kind of like frowned on to advertise your own work or to think about, how it might be sold, or, that you might ever ask anybody for money, or you might try to convince somebody that it was interesting. Or I love that you all either don't have that or are learning to move away from it, because it was a lie, and it really collapsed on a lot of people. And so, yeah, so I love, Dejanay, that you're making your own trailers, that you give your socials when you introduce yourself. Like you're conscious that you're making something for people. And I love the sensuality, because again, most people are so afraid of the body, right? And of embodiment and physicality. And there was sensuality and physicality all through all of those. It's really, really nice. Thank you.
It's funny, I knew this time as well that it was coming. Somehow.
We're learning your ways.
I have a method.
Cool. Well, hey, I'm Bryce Patterson. I'm the co-host of a podcast, Return to the Telepodcast with Kevin Serrano Echeverria, who's also in this room. We'll be launching next week, so stay tuned. We'll make sure to drop something on Neophyte Discord or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this piece actually owes a lot to that process, both to Alexis, who's our close collaborator, and the starting point of this story came from something she said during our last viewing session. And the piece itself is kind of partially inspired. I love comics, and I've written for comics somewhat and would really like to do it more, but it's always like such a struggle to collaborate with another person, and illustration is such like an intensive process. So my piece this week is kind of an attempt to like see how much of that I could do myself, and it also features a few sketches from my dear friend Michelle Del Rio. So I'm gonna share my screen. And it also comes out of the fact that I hate readings and always wish I had like a visual element. It's called At the Top of the Hill. Used to bartend at the asylum. The one up near the crags, Holstonwall Hill, that brick shit house with a century's load of madness. They don't call it madness anymore, but we live in simpler times now. Back then, when Frau Jennings painted the words "We don't fuck fascists" on padded walls in her own blood, we called that madness. Herr Holzheim, famous for his oral fetish, nibbled on the lobes of the other patients, and for a time we all wore earmuffs on the days he was allowed out of his cell. Before he was admitted, Holzheim used to make the best Kirschtorte in Weimar. We had the lot back then. Velvet cannibals who lured their victims with promises of sex and cigarettes. Nymphomancers caught mid-blood orgy in the basement of the cathedral, the A to Z of erotic deformities, and the couple nights of the week they were allowed to attempt normalcy, they'd queue up at the bar, alternately shrieking and whispering and whimpering. Dr. Kovash said it helped them to remember earlier forms of themselves. I'm not so sure. Many of our patients ended up here long before they were old enough to drink. I think they were just easier to manage with a belly full of spirits. One woman, Frau Engel, sang for the Mittelfrank Opera Company before she was caught slow dancing with a life-sized icon of the Virgin Mary backstage. She swore that it came to her, seduced her in the night. No one from the Orthodox Kirche could explain how she'd removed it from its base, nor how she moved it across half the city to the opera house. I'm told she held it quite tenderly for a woman of her petite bearing. Herr Hülden, an investment banker suffering from an acute nervous condition, was something of a private joke among the orderlies. His wife had him committed after he became convinced that his penis had been replaced with a wrought iron key. The family suffered a series of public embarrassments when he attempted to find a lock to fit, thrusting at the front door of their home, the supply closet at his workplace, and later the door to his own cell. He drank white wine exclusively. It's simpler now. Today we have names for these conditions, each with a distinct heritage and flavor. When I was at Holston Wall, madness was a complex cocktail, and distilling the afflictions of a patient involved years of guesswork and experimentation. Dr. Kovash was neither a kind man nor a gentle one, but he was committed to the experiment. The nights that I worked on the Hill, he sat at the bar long after the patients were herded back to their cells, scribbling in a notebook and sipping a tumbler of Fernet. A fellow stroked my ear tonight, I'd say. Dr. Kovash would nod, exhausted, and respond, with his tongue or his hand? Hand, I'd say. He would nod again. That's progress. One night, he dozed off, drink still in hand, and I flipped through the pages of his journal. Much of his scrawl was illegible, though I still remember the phrase paralibidinal hysteria. Years later, Herr Hülden would be immortalized in a paper outlining the relationship between a misplaced libidinal drive and the broader moral degradation of a society. For all his failings, Dr. Kovash understood that the patients at Holston Wall were symptoms of a broader societal malaise. The cannibals within those walls probably understood better than anyone else what was to come. In our own way, we ate each other in the years that followed, and there was no sex and no cigarettes to soften the blow. Fittingly, treatment on the Hill was cruel. Electroconvulsive therapy often left Frau Engel vomiting for hours. In her moments of lucidity, she described the treatment as the touch of the mother. She told me that a voice spoke to her during these sessions, and once, when the orderlies put on a Billie Holiday record as the patients queued up for their drinks, she started shrieking, "That's her, that's her." I asked Frau Engel about the episode once, a week later. She just smiled at me blankly, humming a tune to herself until Herr Hulsheim started licking one of her earrings. Dr. Kovash never showed much interest in her case. I found her fascinating. Engel, I never learned her first name, was uncommonly beautiful, refined in the fragile manner of that era. She was charming, flirtatious even, when she surfaced from whatever deep waters her mind circled during the long days at the asylum. At the end of the night, before the patients were herded back to their rooms, she would stand at the windows, staring down the steep rock face of the crags toward the distant gas lamps of the city. I often wondered what she saw on the other side of the glass. According to one of the orderlies, a man named Brecht who I plied with drinks one evening, Engel was orphaned at an early age. An uncanny ear for music saved her from a life on the streets. One night, after she followed her routine with the orange, after her long look out the window, after she filed back through the halls of Holston Wall with the other patients, I asked Dr. Kovash what he thought of Frau Engel. He was surprised, of course. I'd never inquired after the other patients with any specificity, or at least, never by name. I thought she'd be a simple case, he told me, staring into his drink. Fernet, as always. He removed his glasses, polishing the lenses with a handkerchief. Loss of a mother, search for a surrogate. He trailed off, taking a sip from his drink. I inquired further, but she's not a simple case? There are no simple cases, he told me with a sigh. Half the country was orphaned in the war. How many of them tried to fuck the Virgin Mary? I thought then of Frau Jennings, her pronouncement that we don't fuck fascists written in blood on the wall, but not a cut on her. I wondered who she lost in the war. I thought about my own daughter, a singer herself, living in Dusseldorf, which seemed so far away back then. Her husband lost a hand to artillery fire. She caught him in bed with a neighbor 6 months after the wedding. Not quite the Virgin Mary. There are no simple cases. The lights in the asylum went out for the last time years ago. I never learned what happened to Frau Engel, but every so often I look up at the dark spot above the crags and imagine a pair of citrus-stained hands on the windows and a voice humming Billie Holiday. That's her. That's her. Maybe the next century will be kinder.
Thanks. Wow, very unexpected. I mean, in a really good way. That's classic. Have you sent that anywhere yet?
No, I was literally making edits until like 5:02 when I joined the Zoom link.
All right. Yeah, that should go out. You should find a place for that. How many words is it?
It's just over 1,000, I think. It's really pretty short.
Yeah. You'll easily find a place that will publish, that and the images and the weird flow charts for the dialogue and stuff. It's really good.
Thank you. Yeah, the images are actually, they're stills from the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from the shitty print that we watched the other night. Layered on top of each other with my friend's artwork, kind of blended in.
Yeah.
Shockingly easy to make, actually.
Well, so much stuff is easy, right? Like, we really make our lives difficult. Like, we feel like we accomplish something more if somehow it's really, really hard. But no, they're great images. They're really good images.
Thank you. Yeah, it's literally just layering shit in Canva. Yeah, super easy. But thanks.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so my stuff is gonna definitely suck, but cool. So I'm gonna share with you the TV pilot that I've been working on. It's been kind of like a project that we usually do with I don't know, you guys don't know if it was, but the mass media department. We've been taking like a lot of screenplay courses with Bryce and Kevin, and you guys should definitely check it out. It's really cool. Okay, that doesn't mean that I'm good, but they're really cool. So what I'm working on is interesting. I'll give you kind of like the pitch, and then I'll give you kind of like why I'm doing it, and then I'll share with you a teaser, right? Like we'll read like a page and a half as a class together, and then that kind of like will get you in the mood of this TV pilot. So the pitch is basically Salim, an award-winning hematologist whose wife dies in a car accident. After the memory agency hands him her memories, he finds out that the government blocked years of her memory, which raises a lot of these red flags and prompts him to refuse to move on. So he goes on a mission to bring her back to life with the use of his science background and the aid of technology. This is it. A guy who's gone crazy, a scientist who's gone crazy after his wife died, and basically, he's going through her memories and trying to reboot her to life. This is kind of like Frankenstein meets 1984, George Orwell kind of scenario. And I'm kind of like interested in these things because, I'm Palestinian. well, Palestinian American now, I guess. I've lived kind of like in these situations under kind of like the ruling of less honest governments. I don't know if there is like an honest government, to be honest, in general, but I guess the part of the world where like I come from is a place with less honest governments. In a way, it became kind of like this my second instinct to question authorities all the time. I kind of like struggled with the concept of personal and collective memory. That honestly, if you ask me what drives me the most, is basically what is a personal versus collective memory, and how do we commemorate the dead, wars, everything? How do we remember things? How do we give meaning to things? This is exactly what I love. This is my passion. So if you've read any of my works, this is basically what I do. Um, so yeah, like kind of like thinking the whole idea of living in a capitalist society. We have governmental and for-profit industries that are specialized in eliminating and manufacturing memories, and invading our personal space. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to figure out a way of this futuristic society getting at our personal space, altering our memories, playing with our memories in existence, and see what comes out of it. And what if this underdog, a person, wants to fight against this? What will happen? So, enough of me talking. I'll basically share my screen. Um, this is going to be very quick. It's just a page. I mean, I have like 40 pages of this. This is like this pilot is done now, but it's just like, page and a half, 2 pages.
Sure.
So let's see this. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. I'm going to call on people, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to read. Bryce, would you be the narrator, please?
I'd love to.
Kevin, would you be Henry?
I shall.
Awesome. Ahlam, so Salam, can you be Ahlam?
Yes.
And the Imam would be Holly, because I just love Holly. Perfect. All right, so off you go.
Exterior: Abu Hadid Home Garden, day. Salim, Palestinian American, dressed in a black suit and stands motionless in his home garden. A picture of his wife is on an easel in the background. A line of people is forming to shake his hand. Henry, a stocky man in his 50s, stands at the forefront of the line to shake Salim's hand.
I am sorry for your loss.
Henry moves forward, and Aslam steps to shake Salim's hand with tears in her eyes.
Allah yarhamha.
The Imam, late 60s and dressed in a white robe, is standing next to the biodegradable cascade.
Blessed be he in whose hands is dominion, and he over all things hath power. He who created death and life, that he may which of you is best indeed. And he is the exalted in might, oft forgiving.
The cascade is lowered down.
Death is the end. Nothing remains. There is no life hereafter. The Holy Prophet said, "You have not been created to perish, but to remain forever. Only you transfer from one home to another, and the souls are strangers on earth and are in the bodies like prisoners."
Salim walks along people who are leaving his home.
When the eyes, ears, and tongue cease to function, the person concerned sees three things which claim to be his friends. One of them says, "I will remain with you till your death." That friend is his worldly wealth and assets. Another says, "I will accompany you till the door of your grave," and it is his children. But one friend says, "I am with you forever, in life as well as in death," and it is his deeds.
Salim locks the big gate and walks back to the grave site and stands there contemplating something.
Remember that death is a process of rest for both the believers and the wicked. We hope and pray that we Muslims obey Allah in our private and public life. We hope and pray that Allah will be happy with us. We pray that when death comes to us, we are ready to face it with courage.
Salim walks inside his home's garage. It's a high-end house in an affluent neighborhood in Chicago.
No one can escape death. Allah says, "The trance of death will come in truth. This is what you tried to escape."
Salim emerges with a shovel in his hand and walks back to the gravesite.
And for the husband left behind, I say, brother.
Salim starts digging.
When the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him, sent for him as her son was dying. He returned the messenger and said, "Whatever Allah takes away or gives belongs to him, and everything with him has a limited fixed term in this world, and she should be patient and anticipate Allah's reward."
Salim is panting as he digs more.
"Accept this is Allah's qadr, and he will reward you for your patience."
Salim gets to the casket and opens it.
"Allah will grant you a second chance to meet your wife in Jannah."
Salim lifts his wife, which is wrapped in a simple white cloth, out of the coffin and places her on the outer edge of the grave. He jumps out and lifts her over his shoulder and runs inside his house.
Right. So this is basically a teaser. This is kind of like, the first 2 minutes of a TV show. So yeah, I mean, it's something I've been working on. I don't know, and I'm open for comments and whatever. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no, it's a good Frankensteinian opening, but the use of the imam's voice over all the action, Bryce said that very well. I think it's very, very cool way to start.
Thank you.
Will you be producing this at some point?
I am actually hoping so. I think I have like the pilot is ready, which is awesome. It's really like it's interesting because I've learned so much about hematology in the past month. It's crazy. I feel like I can. I mean, so basically, Salim creates this new blood. It's an artificial blood where he gets to control red blood cells, platelets, everything through a code. And his job would be to basically reboot his wife to life through that code too. So it's very interesting, kind of like sciencey interesting, but it feels like I'm going towards a conspiracy, working with like conspiracy, government, power, technology, which I don't know. I don't think I was interested in this stuff before. So interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, it is interesting stuff. I mean, and the science stuff is always right. Like, I mean, we're interested in it like we're interested in another language, or it's like okay, how are you going to make this work? How are you going to make me a non-science person? How are you going to make it seem right to me without being too much?
Right.
And that's like you can't seem like magic, but it can't seem like real science either, because then it just wouldn't work. Like there's such a middle ground.
Yeah.
Great. Good. No, I'm excited you're doing that work, and like it's pursue it your own way. Like find a way to make it. Just find a way to make it happen. Because it's whether you're making little bits of it yourself, or however you're doing it, find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking basically submitting it to like a lot of these contests. Or
Yep.
Basically, a lot of like these big and for everyone, guys, you should definitely take a screenplay course. I'm not saying this out of.
Oh, absolutely.
I knew nothing about this, and Peruz is an amazing professor. I'm sure like Kevin and Bryce can talk about. I knew nothing. I still don't know a lot. Honest, I don't know anything. But I guess I'm learning. I feel like what I'm realizing is that it frees you up. I feel like I've always been conscious about the way the way I write, my language, and I feel like maybe this is like a second language learner, but it's still like I feel like being conscious about the language itself and forgetting about the story is a problem I've always run into. And I felt like screenplay kind of like says, well, you know what, put the shit to the side and focus on the plot, focus on the story.
Right.
What
Yep.
happened? Like, is this scene needed? Is this scene not needed? Like that progression of events that create momentum, I feel like I've always struggled.
No, screenplay writing is the best training for a prose writer, right? Because then you come back to the prose, and all of a sudden, you can start using the poetry and and stuff like that. But you've learned what plot is. Yeah, no, that's very wisely said. What is the name of the class?
I think it was called Writing for TV. One of it was Writing for TV. We took two classes actually. I'm sure Bryce pays more attention in class more than me. I'm sure he knows more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll dig up the course number and stuff, Catherine, and I'll forward it to you.
Hello. Pinckney, small request. Can you look at the link I sent you? It did go to your SIU email. I can vamp for time if that is necessary.
Well, let me see if I'm gonna get duoed again here.
Sure.
Since it's been
Well,
10 minutes
I'll sort of intro what I've been working on. I showed this off the other week. I've made a couple strides right at the end of the semester here. Working on my game, which is, as I've said before, a big piece of my thesis. I'm looking to make a collection of multimodal fiction that all tells the story of an alternate reality, right? A branching of our possible future. So it's a speculative fiction timeline. There's no aliens. There's nothing like too out of the blue. It's well within the range of possibility, but with one small change to what we have going on. And that is that the SIU
you sent it to
email.
my Gmail? Huh.
SIU email.
Yeah, from your SIU email?
Correct. I can bounce it to your Gmail if that would be helpful.
Yeah, try. I'm not seeing it.
Mine's
All right, well,
also
let
in
me
your
send that
SIU
over.
one.
I am forwarding that now. And there you are. That should come in very shortly. So I'll be talking about the game specifically, what I built, why I built it, and some elements there. As Pinckney's playing it, leaving myself with one thing to do instead of both. Preserve my sanity and be able to get out words, which I would like to do. But yeah, so this takes place sort of close to the branching point of the timeline. Post civil collapse, the Earth has been spent of resources, environmentally ravaged. A group of powerful corporations have decided that manned spaceflight is no longer as viable as it may have once seemed. It's inefficient. It can't reach the depths of space that we would like. So exoplanets are being probed by AI-powered drones. And this game is third person, where most of my work ends up being second person. So you play as these specific AIs, these drones exploring these exoplanets. And you're tasked with two very specific things. One, to scan the planet, collect any minerals that might be there, and to report back to your mothership that's slowly drifting away. That ship will then bounce the signal back to Earth, letting them know whether you found something valuable. The grand irony being, you have a very short time. You know, these drones are very taxing, very powerful. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to send them with very long batteries. So these drones can, by severing the bonds of the minerals they collect, generate power. This is oh, it's so pixelated. It's a predicted method for fuel generation. Pinckney, is there any way we can get that looking a little clearer?
Is that better? It's bigger now.
That's better. It looks like it's cutting off the top and bottom a little bit, but I'd rather have clarity than a full aspect ratio any day.
Well, let me, I haven't done stuff from itch before, so I'm going to have to figure it out.
Sure. Well, I'll keep talking. So as the AI with each level, you are going through and deciding whether you want to fulfill your mission or fill your qualifications for survival. And at the risk of sending a weakened series of results back to your creator, and risk the possibility of never being recovered, being abandoned forever. So this irony, this tension, and this budget exists through the levels, and through the various AI trying to various pods exploring these diverse exoplanets. You get a feeling for being in these tough situations and having to make choices. So here,
well, it can either be. It's looking like it can either be small or it can be cut off. Probably the problem is it's made for an HD screen, and my screen is wider.
That's fine. It's just something to address later. But yeah, so it's really just, like a centimeter off the top, centimeter off the bottom. It's no problem. So it's very low tech right now, but I have what would be the boot screen. Very much looking forward to getting this animated. All of this text was generated by GPT-3. I put in requests for it to generate a boot sequence for an AI exploring exoplanets. I have other sort of chirps, voice lines, because you're playing a third-person character rather than a second-person character, of this AI to connect a little bit. So Pinckney, if you hover over press to continue, give that a click. Now the controls at the bottom there cut off, and the compression is not doing kindness to my lighting. But Pinckney, with the shift key, you can float. Spacebar will send you forward, and you'll see A, D, Q, and E to move and rotate. So your mission is to examine and collect minerals, one of which you can see the pink glowing rock up there. So get yourself floating. Remember, spacebar will send you forward. The controls, great, I appreciate that. The controls have no real gravity except, well, you have no drag. However, gravity is active, so you're pulled down to the center, the ground of the planet, but if you start spinning, if you start rotating, you will keep going until you catch yourself back. So, Pinckney, if you want to float up above that ridge...
Well, I'm hitting space right now, but it's just kind of...
Hold down shift as well, right? Because you're trying to go forward, dragging across the ground, and if I had the health system implemented... you would be destroying your pod right now. So see if you can, for us, spin around and head the other direction. Be sure to catch yourself. Don't go too far. There you go. And send yourself right up towards that pink rock to your right. Yep. Straight ahead, catch yourself. Perfect. And send yourself forward, shift in space. Get yourself floating in the right direction. So this first planet I built, very atmospheric, very moody. I had the image burned in my head of from the film Heavy Metal, of the ore being up in the mountain leaking green fluid, and I've never had a chance to represent that, and I just think it's such a killer image. So as I built the environment, I tried to spread things out, pull players through this space. You can see other distant rocks, and if Pinckney can collide directly with that pink crystal,
yeah, good luck.
Whatever he can do, we won't blame him.
No, don't.
So the holding down the shift or hitting your controls over time should be, and this is my next step, drain your resources like a health bar, and potentially, potentially, the player would then be able to hit another button and drain the minerals that they've built up, reserved, that would be cataloged and sent to their creator to fill their purpose, they could drain that to survive, to explore further, find the risk of grabbing more minerals, and potentially being even, well, getting a higher evaluation from your creator, right? It's your sole purpose as an AI. Your character wants nothing more than a positive affirmation, but at the cost of their own life. So give yourself a little float, rotate. Yep, and turn. Whoa. You got this. And so my fiance is a geologist. She teaches a course called exoplanets. So that crystal there is a piece of glowing quartz. And Pinckney, directly behind you, and actually to the left there, I have cubic pyrite. So my intention is to have all real minerals, and it being, well, semi-educational about exoplanets, figuring out different biomes representing those planets. Of course, I can include more fantastical elements like the Circle of Thrones in the crater there. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. And I have another model of like broken ribs and vertebrae that I'd like to build as if a giant creature had fallen, and that remains. So this level that I have, and this has been a semester's work, is still light on the narrative that is being implemented. However, this is my prototype for all the functionality, right? And it's built in a way that I, as a narrative graduate student, can plug it in. So I've got all of these openings for the narrative and where it's going to go. So as these pods experience mineral-rich worlds, mineral-barren worlds, they'll reflect on their experiences differently, and they'll characterize their experience through various chirps and responses from the mothership, either congratulating you or otherwise based on your actions. And it'll be a big piece of the multimodal thesis I'm working on. I believe a bunch of you were in class with me previously, where I talked about and shared some interview transcripts way beyond this point in time. Pinckney, can you get that other crystal, or will you disappoint me? Come on, you play flight simulators. Come in for a soft landing. Everybody soundlessly cheer him on. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. I also intend...
proud of myself.
You should be. And so Pinckney, as he's experiencing it here, and if you're looking at your keyboard, I built it to be playable with one hand. I'm looking to throw it on the other side of the keyboard as well. But Shift and Spacebar with your pinky and thumb is your lift and thrust. And A and E is your rotation, Q and E is your strafing. So if you throw your middle ring and pointer finger on WASD, you've got AD and Q and E. It's done a little bit for accessibility, but as I was mapping out the controls, I realized there's just fun in working your brain with just one hand and controlling these various features. And I knew, if the game is fun, the narrative I put in can be more subtle, right? Because somebody will hopefully be sticking around to play the game because they're just neutrally having fun. So bringing in the subtle narrative, motivating the gameplay, and finding a way to intertwine the two, reinforce the two, and enrich each other has been a really exciting opportunity. And this game was made through a class over in communications with, God, is it RTD? I don't actually know what
who knows
department is teaching the class, but my professor, Kevin Mercer, is absolutely killer. He's a new professor here at SIU. He's patient and constructive. His whole raison d'etre is narrative and artifice, right? Whether it be games or installations. He has incredible work, and this exploring exoplanets was the premise of the class. So other students made games just like this, with various details. And I'm actually going to be streaming this undergrad class with a couple grads on Thursday at 11 a.m. So he'll be our professor, Kevin Mercer, will be playing all of our games that get submitted. He's throwing them up on a website and critiquing them, discussing them. Some are beautiful golden surfaces, some are dense jungles, others are ocean planets. So that'll be Thursday morning, and that'll be on the Neophyte YouTube later on to see what we're doing on the other side of campus.
Fantastic.
And I've got a internship with him next semester, and I'm going to be continuing work on this. So hopefully by the end of 2022, this will be a completed game that'll fit right into my thesis. So that's what I got, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Let me put the link to the game. And again, this is an early build, but the link to the game is in the Twitch chat. The link to the game is also on the video here as well. Also goes to my itch, and I think I've got one other game up there. It might have been something I applied to this program with, so you all can judge where I was at a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, it's I really like the inertia. I like having to control for the inertia. It reminds me of there was a lunar lander game,
right?
Many years ago that was just so much fun, because you had to figure out gravity and thrust and stuff like that.
And Bryce, I need music sometime. I'll need sound effects. I'd like this to be a polished experience. So eventually, yes.
That's light years ahead of where you
You're right. It technically functions, so that's a huge
no, it does.
win.
That's better than the rest of us. So 30-hour ambient loop.
Yeah, if you're like Pinckney and you get lost for a while, you might need the
I'll
30
spend
hours.
I mean, because I just like flying around too.
Did you make a lake for him?
I haven't, but I could.
You should.
All right. Very good. Let's take a 10-minute break. Let's come back at 7:15, and we will continue. I'm loving the hell out of this. This is a I can't believe that an MFA showcase is like entertaining and enlightening and pleasing. I don't know. You guys are ruining my whole rap against graduate students. So, all right, see you in about 10.
You caught me off guard. It's completely immersed in Zoom controls. Okay. Alrighty, this is not the page I want, but you can see how many twine branches we have going, so you're in for a treat. Well,
Oh, so this
that
is
might be
twine?
presumptuous. Alrighty. Congratulations. You were trapped in IKEA. You were captivated by the Krokomen and were listening to music, and so you missed the last call. What do you do? And now you have options. Follow the directional lines in orderly fashion, panic, get overwhelmed, and fall asleep in the restaurant. Oh, we're seeing a lot of conflicting options. We're feeling panic. Overwhelmed, panic. All right, panic. Yes, the color scheme. That of IKEA. Yes, I started this semester afraid of twine, so I did something else, and now I'm back to figuring it out. All right, we've settled on panic. You have a brief mental breakdown. Oh no, you have obligations, possibly pets, perhaps a job, mayhaps even a child, a partner who may assume you're cheating on them. Oh, it's all falling apart. Wallow on the Valentuna or get it together. We are wallowing. Yes, the Valentuna is a good place to wallow. After softly weeping for a decent amount of time, your breathing begins to even out. The bad news is, crying takes fluids, so now you're dehydrated. Water fountain or accept your fate. Oh God, it's back and forth and back and
Man,
forth.
yeah, that's a really. We should set up a
An
some
actual
kind
poll?
of a poll. Yeah.
All right, I need a deciding vote. Never accept? Okay, so we're seeking a fountain. You shuffle along the directional lines, knowing there's a water fountain near the end. Would you care to stop and smell the smicas, or would you keep going? My internet, I think, is lagging. Yeah, my internet is definitely lagged because y'all are not saying anything. Let's see. It's okay. I've got some movement. Okay, sorry, my internet's been going unstable this whole time. So there was an uncanny silence. All right, we're sniffing. Beautiful. Smells like recycled polyester. All worries leave your head. Keep going. You pass all sorts of things. Lacos, Kungsfors, even a Gornsnig. Examine the Lacos. Admire the Kungsfors. Appreciate the Gorsnig.
The Gornsnig, please. That's
Perfect. By God, it's beautiful. Would you care to steal it, or would you care to examine the other one?
You definitely have to steal it. I mean,
You do. You so do. You pass a Haugsfar, a Hemness, and a particularly impressive Brimness. Which do you care to examine, or do you care about none? We're savoring. Oh, we're so savoring. Truly a work of art. Steal? Or would you like to move on? We're stealing. Hell yes. You're not strong enough. You do take a shelf panel from it, however. Would you care to examine the others or keep moving? We're experiencing. Such craftsmanship. Steal? This is too large to steal. Would you care to study the others? The betrayal of a bed being too big for one person to carry. All right. Are we studying the Haugsfar or we keep moving? We're studying?
Yeah, you gotta study it.
Of course. Remarkable. Would you care to try to steal? I suspect, yes, chat always keeps lagging for me. It's too unwieldy to steal. Are you giving up? Or are you going back? Perhaps you would like to steal another part of the Brimness. We're moving? All right. Yeah, you don't need that many shelves. Would you care to stop at the food court, or would you like to keep going to the exit? Food. Your stomach rumbles at the thought. Break in and steal meatballs, or keep going? We're experiencing meatballs. Hell yes. Eat a few, experience the glory of gluttony.
Oh, gluttony.
Hell yes. Amazing. Today was a good day. The bad news is, you are now at least 75% meatball, and you cannot run from the creature that approaches. Would you care to comprehend it, scream, cry, or offer it a meatball? Oh God, we have so many options.
Yeah.
All right, I need, let's see.
I want to comprehend it. I think it's
All right,
important.
let's comprehend it.
Yeah.
Cannot comprehend it and are driven mad by your attempt to do so. For helvete!
So all of a sudden we're into
Google Translate
Lovecraft
svenska?
here.
Nej! Ditt sinne övervalt av galenskap. Du flyr från vrälskan. Faster? All right, we've got some rats. I'm not going to pretend to read all that. It takes a long time and a lot of therapy and Duolingo to relearn English, though it's never quite natural again. The end. Let's start over. We've got some other routes.
Yeah.
Didn't spend all this time for us to only do one route. It might be easier to read. Okay. No. Also, I forgot to self-promo because I was so excited to be trapped in an IKEA. I talked about this like briefly on my Twitter. So for those of you who aren't Kevin and don't follow me, Snarky Cynic at Twitter. I talk about weird shit like this. All right. Let's start again. You're trapped in IKEA. Perhaps you got out, relearned English, and then you're back in the system. You're like, you know what? I just need a table. So you're trapped in that IKEA. What are we doing? We're following lines. We are feeling the lines. All right. You begin to follow the path. It's nice they provide this for you. Are we going to resist the smikas? Sniff the lines. I mean, I should have that as an option. Probably smells like dirt. Maybe a person. All right, we'll smell them again. Beautiful. They still smell like polyester, but they sure are nice. Do we want to re-examine the things? We didn't examine the Lacos or the Kungsfors. Onward. We don't. All right. Appreciate. Oh God, conflicting. Okay, we have two then. It's lovely. Would you like to steal the Laco? We sure would. The Laco is unfortunately too bulky to steal, but it was a good effort. Admire the Kungsfors, appreciate the Gorsnig, or continue onwards. All right. Oh. This one's quick and we can steal it, so I'm going to override your vote. Your eyes have never beheld such wonder. Steal it. You successfully steal the Kungsfors. Hope you enjoy hell. Now we can keep going. All right. I imagine we're going to keep past these guys. We seem to be a little to the point. Food court or exit? Exit. Oh, okay, mostly exit. You made it to the exit. It's locked. Accept your fate or grab a besta and smash the door open.
So smash. That's so easy.
The glass shatters. You are free. Eventually the cops find you to pay for the door, but hey, it was life or death in there, wasn't it? How are we doing for time? I think we can get, we can probably get one more, two more.
Sure,
I don't know how long I've been going.
Yeah.
All right. What do we want to do? Sleep? All right.
Sleep.
Congrats, you're trapped in IKEA. You were looking at the thing, you fell asleep, or you missed the last call. You got overwhelmed, and now you're falling asleep in the restaurant. Or at least you try to fall asleep in the restaurant. Though it is beautiful and soft, you're too stricken to rest. Just lie there until
let's
you
just
sleep
lie
or get up.
there. Come on.
Yeah. I'd say fall asleep. My internet just said unstable. Please work with me. After many minutes of tossing and turning, you enter a brief slumber filled with raskogs and finlamads. After a time, however, you return to wakefulness, cracking an eye and
do
seeing a
not
massive
try to
figure before
comprehend
you.
it.
We're fleeing.
Yeah, I think we gotta flee.
All right. You fling yourself off the restaurant, the creature clearly looking at you. Run screaming, or just kind of follow the lines. Screaming? Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You run, making an impressive amount of noise. The creature looks at you. Stop and smell the smikas, or continue running and screaming. Okay, we want to smell. Oh, we have scream. Okay. I think we're captivated by the flowers. Smells like we're
all words leave your head. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like the anesthetic.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
All right. What are we doing? We're continuing. We've learned to resist the urge to steal. Oh. All right. Are we continuing? Are we going back? We're running? Yes, we're running. Stop at the food court? Or keep going to the exit? Food. Break in and steal meatballs? Okay. I think we're preferring to exit. Do we accept our fate? Oh.
Yeah, I think we gotta find.
All right. Would you prefer to just sit there, or would you rather find a good place to sleep?
Yeah,
All right.
sleep, I think.
You nestle into a slacked and you are oh so comfy. But you can't afford this. None of this. The snapshots of a life they provide are beyond your reach. Today you are comfortable, tomorrow you'll be home. But for now, with your belly as full of meatballs as you prefer it to be, you savor it. Suddenly the lights snap on. The workers are starting to arrive. An employee asks you what you're doing here, and then lets you out. But you're never quite the same, are you? All right. I want us to have one good monster interaction, because that's the one thing we haven't done, and then I will let us go and we can continue onwards. But
No, you're great. You're good.
all right. These two lead a little more to the monster than the other one. You guys have been a little too orderly so far. How are we feeling?
So are we panicking?
It is
then?
definitely lagged again. I am experiencing internet delay. Please, internet, return to me. I would love for the internet to work. It would be so nice. Until then, I have to monologue nonstop. Okay, sorry about that. Internet lagged, as it so often does. Let's see. Panic. Okay, so quite a lot of panic, even at the disco. All right, are we wallowing or are we getting it together?
I think we need to. Did we wallow last time? I wanted to
We've
do
kind
the
of
thing
done
we
both.
didn't do last time.
Well, we didn't commit to the wallow. Let's accept our fate. You're on the Vrestorp. We're going to sleep. You are sleeping, or at least trying,
Okay,
and then
all right.
there's the monster.
So here it is.
Let's try to see what happens. We just kind of
Yeah,
ride this out.
absolutely.
We go back to sleep. You close your eyes and try to slow your breathing. You feel its hot breath upon
Probably
you.
keep
Are we pretending to
pretending.
sleep, or are we fleeing?
Yeah.
All right. Oh. It pats your head the way children pat large dogs. It shuffles off. Sleep? Follow it. Follow the directional lines in order.
Oh God, you got to follow it.
The internet is abandoning me. My final day, my final quest, the internet abandons me.
Yep, that's it.
I heard laughter. I can't see a thing.
Follow it. Follow. Follow.
Oh, this is such cruelty I must face.
Oh.
I was evicted. Okay. I'm sharing this. We need to finish this out.
Yeah, we gotta follow it.
All right. Let me open chat again. We are following this thing. Let me move this. Keeping a good distance between you and it, you creep after the creature. It ambles through the aisles, not really looking for anything. Keep following?
Yeah. Gotta
Yes,
keep
the
following.
suspense. Let's keep following. It settles down in one of the pre-made living rooms and begins to read a newspaper. It takes a very long time to read that paper. Maybe its many heads and eyes make it hard, but even then it seems like a long time.
Well, keep watching, yeah.
Absolutely. When it finishes the newspaper, it wanders off to a pre-made room, a very pink one, and lays on the bed, kicking its feet. It sings a little song. Keep watching, applaud, or take the lower road. All right, we have a vote for applaud. We have a vote for keep watching, watch. Let's see. I'll give one more vote. No. Clap. Okay, so now we're split. I shouldn't have waited for. All right, one more vote this time. Both. Clap. Okay, we're clapping. You clap appreciatively, uproariously. It looks at you. Its many eyes large. Keep clapping. Run.
Yeah, keep clapping.
It bows. Once you've finished appreciating it, typo, it extends a magazine to you. Take it, reject it.
Take it.
You accept the magazine. It's indeed for teen girls. You read it nonetheless. When you look up, the creature is looking at you. Read aloud to it or mind your business.
Definitely read aloud to it.
Absolutely. You read aloud to it, even doing voices for the parts. The creature is amazed. Become besties or let's not get ahead of ourselves. Become besties. You two spend the night making friendship bracelets, eating meatballs from the food court, and braiding the hair on its many heads. This is the closest you've felt to another person in years. Suddenly, the lights snap on. The workers are starting to arrive. The troll bounds off into the darkness, leaving you in the daylight. It cannot be seen by these people, and you are of the light after all. An employee asks you what you're doing here and then lets you out. But you're not quite the same, are you?
Okay, great, awesome.
I have another one where you two fall in love, but I don't think we have time for that. You are not destined for troll romance.
Will you give us a link to this so we can play it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. It's just through Twine. All right, I'll stop sharing.
Beautiful. And look, I mean, how much does it tell you that the chat just filled up, right? That people want to participate. People love, taking part in something that's fun. Yeah. And this is much more like a party game than it is like a reading, and people like that. Like, and there's really nothing wrong with doing things that people like. It's actually nice. Yeah. So no, that's neat. You all are doing, I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed here. Okay. Oh, and are all the IKEA, were all the IKEA names real things? I thought they probably were. That's wonderful.
It could be a play along at home option where you download the app and like look at the thing.
That is actually a great idea. That's how you should pitch it. Really. Can't hear you.
It always works when she gives up, right? Swear at it.
We're gonna get you a good camera and mic. I just can't handle this anymore.
It hurts me.
There you go.
Ew. Hello?
There. Yep, we got
cool.
you.
Okay. I
Now
even got
become a
it working
potato.
like in this. Yeah, I got it working like in the Zoom call before, but then you ended it, Pinckney. So you just like restarted my whole progress.
It's definitely my fault.
Definitely
I
your
own
fault.
that 100%.
Hello, I'm Salam Auda, and I'm going to be presenting this video that I made using a really old camera that I had. And I've had it for like 7 years, and I bought it used, so it's really old and it's grainy, but I like the way it turned out. So and then I have an audio piece that I worked on and then presented on top of that as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Although following the genius that is Alexis is going to be pretty difficult. So, but we're going to try our best. Okay, cheers. Are visuals there? Can they be seen?
Yes.
Yes, we do have vision.
Okay, great. Fingers crossed that the sound works. And it's still being seen? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Great, great. One of the many strange things about being human is our perpetual fear of death. And I say strange because we don't only avoid it, or attempt to keep an arm's length between us and it by mixing sativia into our morning coffees in place of sugar, or by paying thousands of insurance money in case, just in case, of something happening that could shorten that arm we've come to familiarize ourselves with so much. But also because we like to make death look beautiful in the way living things are beautiful. Death, or dead things. We paint the dead cheeks of our loved ones blood pink, force thick cotton down the throats of dead rodents, staring up at us with their very dead eyes, which we paint over with thick glaze in hopes of glimpsing a hint of spirit, a hint of what used to reside there, and which doesn't anymore, because they're dead. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, or maybe I am, but what I am saying, I think, is that death is beautiful in the way dead things are. Beautiful in that there's a certain tranquility to death that life doesn't provide. And I don't mean that in a cosmic sense, or in a depressing sense either. I mean it in the most arbitrary sense. There's a quietness, a soft thud of the back cover of a book colliding with the final page, a tenderness to dead things that is beautiful, a kind of driving force for us to rewind and bind together the incomplete stories of the once alive, to taint them with our own perceptions, or hopes, or alternate realities. Death is beautiful in the way living things aren't. It's hushed, in some ways, in that it makes room for contemplative silences, but it's loud, really, louder than it is to be alive, because those still above the dirt don't have an effect on those beneath it, but the same can't be said in reverse. What they leave behind is a delicate blend, a brew of nebulous memories, some kind, some cruel, some nowhere near kind or cruel, or somewhere in between. They leave a trail of pebbles, turned crumbs, turned bird waste, turned soil, turned pine tree, turned. Makes me wonder if they hear us remembering them above the dark and dusky dirt, girdling them, or do they listen in lieu to the noise of neighboring beetles and springtails fending for their homes, probing at their festering bones, and tickled pink to find such riches, such fortune to scavenge, to collect in haste, to carry away and conserve, preserve, or do they lie dormant and depleted, discerning little but their own coiling thoughts and ruminations of their past lives, or strifes with those of us still undead, those of us left, wandering, wondering. That's it. Thank you.
Do you know the animator Jan Spunkmeyer? Do you know? Does anybody know Jan Spunkmeyer? Oh boy, you really check out Jan Spunkmeyer, and his kind of two of his disciples were the brothers Quay, Quay, and they did stop motion animation, but the images and the sort of the fascination with death is there in a way it is in your work, and the way you prefer a kind of low res image. I think you'll appreciate their work. I think they mostly worked in Spunkmeyer in the 70s, I guess. But if you're interested in stop motion animation, particularly Spunkmeyer's mind blowing. So yeah, Spunkmeyer did a version. I'm sure it's on YouTube or easy to find. Did a version of Alice in Wonderland that is fantastic. But this had a very. I think when you see his stuff, you'll understand why I point you that direction, because there's definitely a vibe of, I mean, that it's not just oh, something's dead, it's horrible, right? Like, I mean, it really is a fascination, a fascination with bones and the body and flesh and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's really beautiful.
Hello.
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 Hello. My name.
Oh, did you?
Wait,
I
what?
apologize, Salam. No, because we can definitely. Okay.
No, I'm like actually good. No, I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so my name is Kevin Serrano Treveria. Am I working with Elon Musk now? No, and I never will.
Love it.
So my socials are at Mr. December 1 on Instagram and at accented_I on Twitter. So for today, I had like a lot of projects lined up for today, and they somehow all just like fell through just because the weather mostly, because I was planning on filming outside, and the only day that I could film, it was raining. So that was great. And also just because my computer's a piece of shit. But I do have a short audio piece that I could cobble up that I feel matches this glitchy aesthetic pretty well. So I will share that with you all. Right, just shared my audio.
I would like to have the void between every particle to hold and warm with my palms, say that nothing is everything and that nothing is enough. I'd like to have the words buried beneath your throat, to shape into oranges and maple leaves and grass whistling the evening's arrival. I'd like to have the light between your ears, if only for a moment, to bend my fingers into shapes of my face and yours, so when you look between, if only for half a frame, they meld into mine. What do you see? What do you see when you look at my skin? What do you see when you're up in the sky? What do you see, Father? What do you see, your creation? What do you see, your child? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Get me out of here. Please. 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 I don't belong. I don't belong. I don't know who I am. I have sin of fear, that when I have spun my last thread, I shall perish on the shore. But swear by thyself, that at my death thy sun shall shine as he shines now and heretofore. And having done that thou hast done, I fear no more.
When I feel your fingers inside of me, touching me, turning me on. Me. Only me.
But am I good enough for you? Do I turn you on like you do to me? Do you think about me at night? When I'm sleeping, it's so dark. When I'm sleeping, I can't even think. When I'm sleeping, when I'm sleeping, when I'm sleeping, when I'm sleeping.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Wow.
How do I unshare my audio?
No, it worked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it worked. But that's that sort of 2/3 of the way through part was done. Yes, with John Donne.
Wait, what? Oh, yes, yes, it
You were
was.
quoting John Donne, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a very beautiful hymn based on that poem. Do you know it?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I know it a
No,
little bit.
no, it was just, it's neat to hear, right? That, because again, it's that conversation that, literature is this ongoing conversation, and that with this glitch effect on your video and those, frightening, like, wolf tones and stuff like that in the voices. And then out of that rises John Donne in the middle, right? And that's the kind of thing that, no pun intended, makes the hair rise on the back of my neck. No, it does. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. You know what I mean? This is this nails where we are right now. Yeah. So terrific.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you have are you putting these up on Instagram, or what are you doing with these things?
I should put them up on Instagram, actually, or on something. I don't know.
Yes, it should be on TikTok. It should be on Instagram. Yeah, absolutely, because this is terrific stuff. So yeah, was that Holly at the end? Was that Holly's
Wait, what?
voice
At the end? No.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because it did
No.
sound. Somebody asked if it was Holly, and as soon as they said that, I could only hear it being Holly.
Right? It was me.
Oh, was it Jody? Okay. Yeah.
No, it was me saying it, like that it was Holly. It was not my voice.
No, I know. But as soon as you said that, I was like, holy shit, it is Holly. Probably if you'd said, was it Bryce, I'd have thought it was Bryce. But
I
so
can believe
suggestible.
that. No, every sound was me. I just
Oh, really?
Yeah, all those sounds were like me, like actually talking. I just like messed with the pitch a lot, and I messed with the equalization a whole lot, and in some parts I layered vocals in kind of an awkward way to make it sound more glitchy. But yeah, every sound was my own voice, except for my dog, like twice. I just kind of left it there because like it felt right.
Okay. Yes. It's I can never remember it on demand. But yes, that's really very much what Kevin is doing, I think. Yeah. Okay. Where is Holly? Oh, you keep shifting around on me, Holly.
My internet goes out about once a class period, and it just went out and came back on. So I'm back. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, good. That's the first hurdle. Second hurdle is I've got a network bandwidth is low error message. So hopefully that doesn't last too long, but I'm going to share. My name is Holly Sparkman, and this is a true story. I have some slides to share.
I love that, by the way. That's just such a good, such a good opening quote.
Thank you. I have some slides to share. This is really just a framework of a larger piece that I would like to do. Did Matt or Pinckney get my email?
Yeah, I was just typing in the chat.
Nude photos or something?
If you need me to cut video, give me like 10 seconds warning, and I will just swap to the hold screen for like a second there.
Sure. It's a painting. It is an art nude, so that's just a warning to everyone. But
Twitch is a bunch of disgusting prudes.
Yeah, there will be a prompt to pause the stream. So if you don't mind pausing the stream and then letting us know, but there will be a prompt, so you'll be aware of when you need to do it.
Can do.
Okay, let's share screen. Okay. Oh, it says you cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Oh, Kevin's still sharing computer sound.
I have no idea how to turn that off. I'm going to be real with you.
Okay, let me, I can probably do it.
Let the Zoom god do it.
I just put him in the waiting room. That did it. I could have just removed him entirely, but I think that wouldn't. I did that to a student once as kind of a joke. And then it turns out that if you remove them from the room, they can't sign back in.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was pretty brutal. But that was in the early days of Zoom. It was really the Wild West back then.
Okay, so I shared sound. The slides should be coming up here in a minute. Okay, so can everyone see this first slide?
Yes.
Okay. And you can still hear me, correct? Okay.
Yes.
In a moment, there will be some audio as well. So if you can't hear some music, definitely let me know. But as long as everyone can see this, we can get started. Okay. MCZ, All This Useless Beauty, a virtual mini exhibit. Hello and welcome to All This Useless Beauty, a virtual mini exhibit of 3 paintings by artist MCZ. Still a work in progress, as you can see. My name is Candy and I will be your guide. While MCZ detests artist statements, he does consider all of his pieces to be a matter of testifying. A few more notable aspects of his private life are that he is self-taught, colorblind, and has 2 wives. Please note this tour will be recorded and streamed to Twitch. Please take a headset before we proceed, refrain from any flash photography, and though tempting, touching the pieces is strictly prohibited. MCZ is currently unavailable for comment, but has graciously provided some insight into his work through pre-recorded interviews. Here we have Mary, acrylic on canvas, 36 inches wide by 48 inches high, circa 2007. The artist's wife would like to play a pre-recorded statement for the audience as you view the piece. This is her response to the artist, her husband, who created the piece you are viewing. Please place the headsets on that you were provided at the beginning of the tour.
Now, I'm not hearing audio right now.
Okay. Oh, here.
So we were having a rough time, you know. Kay wasn't feeling so good after stroke, and T was in and out of trouble, or we didn't even know where he was half the time, and things just weren't good. Do you remember that? Well, I didn't really have anyone to talk to then, and I didn't want to talk to you because you were going through all that too, and you'd been out of the hospital for a bit, and I didn't want to put another burden on you. Like, I didn't want it to seem as though I needed you to fix anything. I just needed someone to listen, but I didn't have anyone, or at least no one that I really trusted to just listen and not offer advice. That's not what I was looking for, and I never really got the whole Mary thing. Like, as kids, we were always told that the Mary thing was a cult, or it was weird that people prayed to her or lit candles or whatever, and I just didn't really get it. And during all that time, I was working, and I had your Mary painting in my office hanging on the wall looking at me. She's got this black cloak and loose black hair, and her hands are gently together like she's ready to pray for you or something. And you know, she's got her head slightly tilted, one eyebrow raised, and she's got this look on her face like she's just about ready to say something. And I'd sit there and these feelings of being overwhelmed would just hit me in these unforeseen waves. 1 second I'd be fine, and then another boom, crash, it just hit me. And I'm like in my nice clothes and makeup, and all of a sudden I'm feeling like I just need to crumble and cry for a little bit. And I just needed someone, anyone, just to listen to how I felt. And so one day I'm sitting there and I looked up and there she was. She'd been there the whole time, just about to say something, but not needing to, because she was just there to listen. And that's when I got it. I finally got it. I was like, yeah, okay, that's it. She's it. She's the one who's there. I mean, like, here for me when I have no one else. She knows the shit. She knows what life can throw at you, because she's been there. And she's just going to listen, not judge or offer advice, just listen. So that's what your painting did for me. So thanks.
MCZ's response to his wife's statement was, good. The next portion of the tour is restricted. Our inter-class circle will have viewing access to the next piece, and it is quite an honor. However, proceeding with the stream will violate the community standards of Twitch. So if the stream admin would kindly pause until we are done discussing, your cooperation is much appreciated. Please stand by.
All right, I have a hold screen up, but desktop audio is still running, so we can hear everything.
Okay, thank you. Lilith, acrylic on canvas, 24 inches wide by 36 inches high, circa 2008. This is Lilith. She is one crazy bitch. Banished from Eden and thus subsequently expelled from the Bible, known as Adam's other wife. She is a polarizing figure and proud of it. Here, MCZ is playing with juxtaposition. Painted in heavy highlight and shadow, Lilith stands strong in all her unabashed nakedness. We are both attracted and repelled. She is a beauty to look at, possibly even playful. But with her middle finger up to us, she is essentially telling us to fuck off. We will comply and leave her here. Okay, please resume the stream.
We're good.
Okay, follow me right this way. I know you're all very excited, and I promise we're headed towards something truly great. One of MCZ's masterpieces. In this next portion, the artist has requested that you all turn your microphones on, as a short call and response portion is included with this piece. Thank you. Please go ahead and unmute yourselves. Here we have Teresa Sanchez, acrylic on canvas, 36 inches wide by 48 inches high, circa 2009. Teresa is blue. Teresa has visions. Teresa is very tired. Teresa is trying very hard to tell you something very important, if you would just listen. She is telling you with her eyes. She is telling you with her nose, her lips, her hair, her neck, her shoulders. Won't you listen? Can't you feel it? There is a spotlight of bright yellow energy emitting from her third eye. Can you feel it? If you can feel it, follow me and say, I can feel it. I'll say, can you feel it? You say, I can feel it. Can you feel it?
I can feel it.
Can you feel it?
I can feel it.
One more time. Can you feel it?
I can feel it.
Yes, thank you. MCZ's response, good. Thank you. MCZ wants to thank you all for visiting his virtual mini exhibit. We want to thank you for your time, attention, and participation. Please return your headsets, exit through the gift shop, and be on the lookout for more MCZ work.
Outstanding. So good.
Thank you. So the idea behind this is eventually I would like to turn this into an actual VR gallery. So that's kind of more interactive.
Yeah.
But that's the intention.
Let's do that in VR, or let's use a game engine. We can make a 2D version of it that will also translate into VR.
We need a summer project, so any of us can make an environment for you.
Yeah, that's because that's fantastic.
So where does he exhibit now?
He here on Zoom.
That's it?
Yeah, we have a room full of pieces he hasn't shown in years. It's just not been in the cards for us for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, he hasn't shown for a long time.
Wow. That just seems amazing to me.
Let's just make a museum. Because that really was the best art exhibit I've been to, in at least a very long time, if not ever. And I would have been happy for it to have been an hour long, and for us to be able to spend as much time as we wanted with the paintings. And I'm actually doing a project that's similar to this with a bunch of NC Wyeth paintings. And what we're doing is we're getting really high res images of the paintings, and then we're doing with a bunch of stained glass too, but we're putting the paintings in VR and lighting them in VR, but then we're having details of the painting kind of come out of the painting so that you can see it in the gestalt, and then you can examine it, very closely, like so close you can see the fiber of the canvas and stuff. So if we got some really good high res images of those paintings, we could just use that as a template.
Yeah, I love that.
No, I agree about being in a room with the painting, and that's why VR would work so well, I think, is that you would be in the room with the painting.
Right. And honestly, I want people to have more of an experience with the paintings, and it helps to be close to it. So I think VR is a perfect medium for that.
Yep. No, I agree. And we get the music, and I mean, we could even set it up. I've got a haptic vest on the way. It'd be really cool if we could have it where the music would make you sort of feel the painting.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get that haptic vest in, I'll let folks know that you can come in and try it out.
Hello, I'm Jody Salazar. A little background on my project. Sorry, Bryce, it's hive mind like all around. I feel like my piece, her ancestor is maybe somewhere in that line of what you were talking about. So just a quick rundown. In Pinckney's classes, I tend to take one project and then just try to build on it throughout the semester. So there'll be some little stops along the way that go somewhere else, but the road always kind of verges back to the same story. And this one started with our scene exercise, then went into our presentation exercise, and then the scene exercise I turned into a dreams documentary short. And so it went into the presentation and then the monologue. And so I have tweaked all of those into a false persona named JL Salazar. And yeah, you've got the link, Pinckney. It might be more stable if you share it.
JL, like Cicera and JL?
I mean, technically it's JL, my initials.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
do people know the story of Cicera and JL?
I
from
mean,
the
if I can bring in another tie-in, I'll always be about that.
Yeah, no.
So-
I love that story because it's from the time when Deborah was a judge of Israel,
Ooh.
and Sisera was an enemy general, and he was being chased by Deborah and the Israelite army, and he sought refuge in the tent of Jael, and
Oh, that's right.
she let him lie down, right, and he went to sleep, and she took a tent peg and put it on his temple and took a hammer and drove it straight down through one temple, out the other temple, and into the ground.
Damn, there's an angle there I could have worked. I wish I had known / remembered that.
Yeah, well, but that's what workshops are for, right? I mean, again, that's the great thing about literature is other people go, "Oh, that reminds me of," and then you get to build that in, right?
Yeah.
So,
So you should have the link. It's kind of extra, but it was fun.
okay. And where is the link? Is the link in my
I sent it
email?
to your SIU, so you're gonna have to get duoed.
Shit.
If it's too much of a problem, I can try to run it. I'm just afraid.
I'll find it. It's just it often puts stuff in weird places.
I found that too. I thought it was just me, but in my
No.
ineptitude, but
Microsoft is horrible because it tries to figure out where you want stuff.
yeah, I don't like it thinking for me, so
No, and it does a terrible job. Okay, here we go. YouTube link. Video unavailable. This video is private.
I sent you the link. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can change okay, did that change anything?
Let me see. Yep, there it is. Oh, nope. Video unavailable. This video is private.
Okay. Of course, I would come up with every scenario, and then it would do this to me. Let's see. Pinckney.Benedict, right?
Pinckney.benedict@gmail.com.
Let's see if this will work. Okay, now it's showing as unlisted, so it may play for you now.
Okay, hang on.
Sorry, I swear
No,
looked.
we'll get it. We'll get it. It's just,
I accounted for every possibility except, that I had not made it public enough. Because, fake persona just floating around there. I still have
There
a
it goes, there it
propaganda
goes.
website.
Invisible sounds.
Yeah, invisible something, yeah.
Okay. And you want me to share sound as well?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wounds. Sorry. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to play it now?
Yeah.
Artist, activist, and author J.L. Salazar has been quite open about her struggle with mental illness. From documentary shorts to songwriting, She shares glimpses of PTSD, depression, and anxiety, hoping to advocate for others who walk alongside her on this journey and suffer in silence. She uses her art to channel the helplessness, hoping that in its sharing, others can find sisters along their way, their path, and maybe not have to travel it alone. Here are pieces of an earlier interview with JL. You've been open in both your work and in interviews about your struggles with PTSD. Can you share a bit about what that's like for you personally?
Absolutely. This is a typical run-of-the-mill doctor appointment for me. You know, they never can tell it's a panic attack. There's like this preconceived idea that it's all shaking and crying and hysterics, even though they're the experts and you would expect them to be able to tell, but they don't have a fucking clue. You would think they would be able to see, you know? But they can't, don't, won't, I don't know. They're just fucking clueless. And I should be able to say the words, you know, just look at them and say, hey doc, I'm literally in a panic right now. I mean, don't they teach them to read nonverbals or physical signs or something? So I just sit there time after time while they say, well, that blood pressure sure is high. We need to keep an eye on that. So dismissive that it's like, I swear there's a thigh slapping moment. And I want to scream. I just want to fucking scream. But all I can do is sit there. Sit there with my heart racing and my breathing coming like someone knifed me in the chest. And I just sit there, crying and screaming and panicking. Locked behind so many doors. Deafening in its silence. So yeah, every time. Routine visit, running tests, getting labs drawn, waiting for results, every damn time.
While we were chatting before the interview, you mentioned you have a new song you're working on. Could you play a little of that for us?
Sure, it's still a little rough around the edges, but sure, I can do that. Face down on the floor from hitting the wall. 90 miles an hour, hour after hour after hour. Fatigue, it keeps lingering from the weight of 1,000 souls, spilling their blood all over me, their tears, their joys and fears. They soak into my skin, crowd into my heart, flooding my empathy and robbing me of my strength. I stand without armor, stagger beneath their weight. My breath comes ragged as I crash into the wall and fall, face down on the floor from hitting the wall. 90 miles an hour, hour after hour after hour. There you go.
Thanks for sharing. Can't wait to hear the final product. Now, this next piece is a documentary short, correct?
Yeah, that's right. The pandemic was hard for all of us. I channeled a lot of that restless energy into the only creative outlet that was available at the time, creating in digital media.
The smell of latex makes me want to throw up. I have an appointment with the doctor, 8:45. Take a seat. Call you when it's time. As she takes her seat, she attempts to slow her heart and breathing, with her mind dictating both. As they begin to slow, her name is announced. On the short walk to the office, her moment's reprieve was lost. Her mind is in control, both heart and breath, if she is not in control of her mind, let alone the other two. Her bodily movements have slowed, while the other pieces of her race out of control, leaving her in a fog. She sits in his office, awaiting his presence, awaiting his assessments and pronouncements. She hears the knock on the door. Tasting lead and temples throbbing, the doctor walks in, does his cursory exam, and like that, it's over. Never like that. It's always like this. Was everything pounding and adrenaline taking over? Her body is feeling the fatigue of the 30 minutes, which always feel like an eternity. She collapses with exhaustion into the passenger seat and closes her eyes.
That segment was an autobiographical short by J.L. Salazar called Panic at the Doctor. In just a moment, J.L. will be joining us live via Zoom to update us on her latest projects. Excuse me, 1 second please. This virtual presentation has had a change of venue. JL will be joining us from an undisclosed location.
It's always like that. Every time. Every damn time. I make it to the car, I close my eyes, and my breathing and my heart rate begin to slow. And life begins its return to something next to normal. Not this time. This time, my blood pressure kept rising, my heart rate wouldn't slow, and I started to hyperventilate. So I had to wait. I had to wait in the office until it slowed down, until it all slowed down, but it wouldn't. It just wouldn't. And I started to feel trapped, so I started to pace around the office, and which obviously did nothing to slow my heart rate. So when the door opened, I just rushed at it to get out, because if I could just get out of the fucking office and reach the car, it would be okay. Because it's always like that. I get to the car and I'm safe. But they wouldn't let me leave, and they say when the door opened, I punched the nurse. But I don't remember that, you understand? I don't remember that. I remember the nurse came in at least 3 times to check my blood pressure, and one of the times they made me get undressed and hooked me up to some machine to check my heart, and they left me there. They just left me there. And it was cold, and because it never looks like I'm in a panic attack, they never believed me, so I just lay there naked with wires hooked up everywhere. And they ran their stupid test, and they told me nothing. Just came back in and told me I could get dressed again. No explanation, no diagnosis, no nothing. And so by the time they came in the 3rd time, I don't remember, okay? The last thing I remember is that I told them I had this presentation coming up and that it was important, and the door opened, and the rest is just gone, And now here I am, and they're letting me do this, but they wouldn't even let me unlock my computer. I had to give the nurse the password. There's 2 nurses in here now, watching everything. So I ask you, how do I sit here and discuss a project about mental health? How do I talk about how you navigate the mental health system in a way that they understand that you feel crazy? Like you need some meds and some help crazy? But not like crazy where they lock you up in a room and won't let you unlock your computer crazy. How do I do that? Wait, I'm out of time? But I didn't even get to talk about my project. Please. I just want to go home.
Thank you.
I think we all just want to go home. I love these virtual. I like that so many of you are couching your stories within sort of a sort of over narrative, right? That it's a story within a story. It's it's art within a framework of art, that kind of thing. Is that everybody? I haven't forgotten anybody, have I?
And look at our time too.
What's that?
Look at our time too. Immaculate.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Well, I got to tell you all, I had to put my dog down yesterday, and but you all have this shockingly, this made me feel so much better. This was really a nice experience. I've really enjoyed this semester, and I particularly enjoyed tonight. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing great things. And I want you to start getting them out in the world. I want you to start getting them in front of an audience, and any way we can help figure out how to do that, in the lab, right? Or, whatever we can do to help you make channels for your stuff, to make environments for your stuff, anything like that. That's really what the lab is for. And so, but I just found this so exciting tonight that I don't like literary readings at all. And I just sat happily through over 3 hours of, literary work. And that astonishes me that, I could have watched, like Lawrence of Arabia in this time. So that's amazing. Thank you all very much. I loved this semester. So, and please, drop in, come to my office hours, drop me a line, tell me, and I hope I'll see some of you all. I know some of you I'll see over the summer, and I hope I'll see a bunch of you in the fall. Very good. Thank you.